He didn't say what. Okay, we are way off.
Please rise so we can stop this banter. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And that did not come out of my mouth.
Council. Right here, Councilwoman. Councilwoman DeGroot,
Here.
Councilwoman Hayner, Councilman Schatzel,
Here.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Here.
Supervisor Quigley.
Here. Thank you very much and welcome to the Town of Ulster Town Board Workshop Meeting, Thursday, October 2nd. Safety announcements, please note the exit signs to your left and to your right. And if required, please exit in an orderly fashion. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda?
It's for an executive session for a personnel matter and a pending litigation.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the point in the meeting where many of you have come to share your ideas, thoughts, and opinions with the town board. It's public discussion on agenda items. I stress on agenda items only. We will have a second opportunity to listen to you at the conclusion of old business. Anyone to talk about? Mr. Obajeski.
Good evening, members of the town board. I'm Regis Obajeski, 170 Ledge Road, Town of Ulster. And I'm here tonight speaking on behalf of the Town of Ulster Citizens.org. Thank you for preparing the positive declaration resolution for the TerraGen BEST project. We look forward to your discussion and remain hopeful for the greater good. As you consider the resolution for declaring positive declaration for the TerraGen BEST project, we respectfully urge the board to approve a 90-day public scoping period. This extension is essential for ensuring that all stakeholders have the time necessary to thoroughly review and contribute meaningful input. Here's our reasoning. One, project complexity. The TerraGen BEST project represents a large-scale battery energy storage system with multifaceted impacts on land use and infrastructure, safety, and the environment. Residents need adequate time to understand the technical documentation and assess all potential effects. Two, need for expert consultation. Many community members will seek guidance from independent experts in environmental science, engineering, and public health to prepare informed and comprehensive scoping documents. Coordinating these consultations requires sufficient lead time. Three, thorough community input. Organizing public meetings and facilitating constructive discussions among residents cannot be rushed. A 90-day period ensures diverse voices are heard and concerns are clearly articulated. Four, precedent for extended scoping. During the Glide Path project, the initial 45-day scoping period was extended, and that additional time proved invaluable. And five, benefits to all stakeholders. A 90-day scoping period will not only benefit the residents, but also provide the board and project proponents with more comprehensive feedback, leading to better informed decisions. Thank you for considering this request for a 90-day public scoping period to ensure this BEST project proceeds with thorough community engagement and expert insight, ultimately serving the best interests of all involved. Thank you.
Mr. Kelly?
Good evening, Supervisor Quigley and members of the town board. My name is Tim Kelly. I live on Griffin Drive in the town of Hurley. And I want to thank you all for taking this critical step tonight by considering adopting a positive declaration under seeker for the proposed battery energy storage facility. Declaring a positive declaration is not about stopping development. No, it's about doing things responsibly. The project under review is unprecedented in its size and its scope for this community. By requiring a full environmental impact statement, you are recognizing what the law itself requires, that projects with potential for significant environmental impacts demand thorough, transparent, and science-based review. A positive declaration will ensure that the community will finally get answers to some important questions. First of all, how will fire safety risks be mitigated, especially given national incidents at similar facilities? What are the impacts on neighboring homes, schools, and businesses, along with houses of worship, if there were an accident? How will traffic, noise, and property values be affected? And most importantly, what long-term oversight and accountability will be built into this project? These are not trivial matters. No, they go to the heart of protecting public health, safety, and the character of both your town and the neighboring towns. A negative declaration would have short-circuited this process, silencing the concerns of residents. By adopting a positive declaration, you are upholding the intent of seeker and affirming that Ulster and neighboring residents deserve transparency, science, and meaningful participation in this decision. And let me be clear, while tonight's vote is an essential first step, it cannot be the last. Once the facts are fully laid out, the record will show what common sense has already told us. This project is unsafe, ill-conceived, and incompatible with its proposed location. Ultimately, it must be stopped. Our community should not be a testing ground for an industrial-scale battery experiment in the middle of neighborhoods, schools, houses of worship, and businesses. I do commend this board for recognizing the seriousness of this proposal and for insisting on a comprehensive environmental review. But I also urge you, when the time comes, to have the courage to say no and protect the people of Ulster and the surrounding communities from a project that just does not simply belong here. Thank you for your time.
Any additional comments? Sir, in the front.
Thank you. My name is Rob Panache. I'm from the law firm of Young Summer. I'm here on behalf of the applicant Alcazar ESS. It's the energy storage project. I'm here to tell the board that if the board decides to issue a positive declaration, we support that decision. We know it's important to the community to proceed. We've heard some members here, and we support the full environmental review of this project. We are confident in our application and confident that the comprehensive environmental studies that we've provided and the additional studies and information that we can provide will lead to a full environmental review. So in closing, we support your decision, whatever decision that is, and we look forward to working together on the seeker process with you. Thank you.
Thank you. In the back, sir.
My name is Francis Humphrey. I live in Elmendorf Drive in Rolling Meadows. I just want to say, based on the lack of information that I currently have, I have reasons for opposing the building and I have reasons for not opposing this issue. It's not the safety issues because I don't have enough information on anything. That's one of the reasons why I'm here and paying attention. But my question is to the town of Ulster, what is our benefit to the town? Is it in taxes? Are we getting pilots? Is it in jobs? As opposed to maybe the safety issues or anything else for people opposed to this? Where do we benefit? What is the benefit to us? What are we gaining out of it? I really never liked being a NIMBY because I think the town has lost too many opportunities for businesses in the past because of people like that. And I didn't want to be one, but if necessary, I will be. I just want to know where we benefit and how we benefit. If that information can come out, maybe people will change their minds, maybe they won't. But I can't make a decision for or against until I get more information on every aspect. And I think that's what all the residents need, more information and more time to get this information. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I saw somebody in the back. Sir?
Good evening, Town. My name is Charles Dyers. I'm a resident of the town of Ulster, and I have several issues regarding the reasoning for declaring a positive declaration that I'd like to go through. One of them is water usage. During a recent Hurley Town Board meeting, an issue about the lack of attention to water usage at the proposed site was raised, and I'd like to bring some facts to that. According to a statement made by Supervisor Quigley during the application process, the Hurley Avenue BEST project would use current waters supplied by Rolling Meadows Water Corporation without any additional burdens being placed on the community that uses the same water supply corporation. I believe the numbers that are associated with the project don't really match up with that reality. And here's why. Rolling Meadows Corporation currently provides an estimated 150,000 gallons per day of water to 2,600 customers. Using the information provided by the board to this board by Terrigen during their application process, the Hurley Avenue project will use an estimated 15 cubic feet of water, which equates to 4,887,771 gallons of water during the construction process alone, with another 4,887,771 gallons of water during the decommissioning of the plant, if and when that occurs. In addition, the project will require an additional 900 gallons of water per day for cooling during the operation. This does not include an additional 1 acre foot, which is equivalent to 163,000 gallons of water per year for landscaping, and an additional 5,000 gallons per year for restrooms and drinking water for the employees. During the past 20 to 25 years, which is the estimated life expectancy of this BEST project, Ulster County has undergone drought warnings or watches in 2001, 2002, 2003, 2016, 2020, 2022, 2024, and 2025. And you'll notice that the watches and warnings have increased in frequency as a result of climate change intensification. So I ask you, where will this water be coming from? And what happens when drought watches and warnings increase in frequency and duration? The second issue that I wanted to bring to the board's attention is wastewater. Another concern that has not been addressed is the wastewater produced during operation. Current guidelines provided by Terrigen is the wastewater produced by daily operation will be stored in a 5,000 gallon underground storage tank. Where does that water go? What happens when and if there is a leak? And what happens when that leak goes undetected, contaminating the surrounding land and groundwater? The last issue that I would like to bring up, because it was an issue raised at one of the other meetings that we had, was the danger of explosions. In their most recent project description application revision, Terrigen indicated that it will be equipped with, and I quote, an explosion control system. That it indicates that, and again, I quote, each enclosure will be equipped with explosion control equipments and measures complying with New York State and NFPA 69. These standards provide for active venting of gases via fans and dampers that are activated by gas sensors to maintain concentrations below what are considered explosion risks. I'm certain that anyone would interpret this to mean that there is a risk of explosions of these containers should these safety measures fail. And I would ask you to consider the concerns that I've outlined here as reason enough to declare a positive declaration. I would also ask for a 90-day period of time, as others have done, to give the time for the proper research and input and actions for the rest of the community. And I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dyers. Any additional comments? I have one. Keep your hands up, please. Ma'am, on the end.
Hello. I'm going to keep my comments very short. I come before the Town of Ulster Board tonight as a City of Kingston resident who lives within 1 mile of the proposed BESS facility. I'm also the Ward 1 Alderwoman on the Kingston Common Council who represents residents who live in Country Village and in Stony Run, 2 dense residential areas that are in close proximity to the site. I asked the Town Board to consider a positive declaration for the BESS facility so that a draft environmental impact statement can be prepared to address the potential significant adverse impacts identified in the resolution that is now before you. Because of the scale and potential impact of this project, I'd also like to request a 90-day scoping period so that the potential adverse impacts described in this resolution, as well as any new potential impacts that may be brought forward as part of the scoping process, can be adequately addressed. I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Pasty. In the back was on this side. Jillian.
Mr. Quigley, after her comment, can we take a momentary break in public
Go to the
comment
public-
and go to
go
the
to the-
public so we can get that done? So after
Yes.
her comment, we take a momentary break in public.
Hi, good evening. Jillian Freed, 128 Rena Street, Hurley, New York. Good evening, members of the town board. The State Environmental Quality Review Act is very clear. If there is the potential for even one significant adverse environmental impact, a positive declaration is required. Here, we are not talking about one. We are talking about at least 13 separate impacts across land use, water, wetlands, threatened species, human health, emergency services, and environmental justice. To proceed with a negative declaration in the face of this record would not only be arbitrary, it would place this town at direct conflict with established case law. In Chinese Staff and Workers Association versus City of New York, 1986, the Court of Appeals struck down a negative declaration because the city failed to fully consider potential displacement and neighborhood character impacts. The court emphasized that ignoring obvious risks is a violation of SECRA's hard look requirement. In matter of Jackson versus New York Urban Development Corp., 1989, the court again reinforced that agencies must identify and evaluate all potential impacts and cannot simply dismiss them in order to advance a project. In Friends of the Shawangunk versus Knowlton, 1982, the court held that failing to acknowledge clear environmental risk invalidates the agency's decision, forcing reversal. And in WEOK Broadcasting Corp. Versus Planning Board of Lloyd, 1992, right here in Ulster County, the court annulled a negative declaration because the planning board ignored the potential adverse impacts and rushed approval. The court made it clear, towns cannot sidestep their obligation under SECRA. Looking at the list before us, impacts to a state-impaired water body, Lower Sopus, proximity to vulnerable populations, endangered species, farmland, and historic resources. Each one of these is independent enough to trigger positive declaration. Together, they present an overwhelming legal mandate. If this board were to issue a neg deck, it would not only disregard the law, it would expose the town to litigation liability. Courts have repeatedly overturned negative declarations under circumstances far less severe than what we have here. This board has no legal or ethical choice but to issue a pause deck with a 90-day scoping period. Anything less would place our town on the losing end of a SECRA lawsuit, one that taxpayers would be ultimately responsible for. I urge you to follow the law, follow the precedent, and protect this community. A pause deck is not optional here. It's the only defensible course of action. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to call a timeout. I'm going to call for a motion to open the public hearing on the East Kingston Fire Protection District budget for 2026 so that the members of the East Kingston Fire Company can return to the station to protect the town.
I'll make that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
If there is any individual here tonight who wish to speak on the topic of the East Kingston Fire Protection District's budget for 2026, please raise your hand.
I make a motion that we close the public comment.
Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Mr. McDermott, you're free to go. Now, to resume public comment. I believe there was another individual in the back, please.
Hi, I'm Winnie Sokolowski, 390 Joyce Lane in Hurley. I just want to voice my support as well for everybody that has spoken already. I agree completely with what they're saying. And I just want to plant a seed. I know it's a very important decision you guys are making, and it's something that the town needs, but there's other technology that's also coming out. If you look into, there's a company called Peak that's developed technology that has carbon, sodium ash, and iron. Very similar battery storage, totally safe, cannot catch on fire, can be transported without any risk, doesn't have an environmental hazard associated with it. So I know tonight we're talking about a positive declaration on this particular lithium iron battery, but there's other technology available that's coming out right now. So it might behoove us to wait and be prudent because it's in development. It's being used today in Montana. So this may be something that helps us meet our objectives from a climate perspective without putting the community at risk. So I urge you to vote on a positive declaration on this project, and then perhaps this will be an alternative you can look into.
Thank you. Is there anybody else on this side of the room? Blue sweater. Then I'll see who you are.
Jolie Dunham, 262 Village Court in Kingston, and it's Country Village. I just wanted to say, I know that you will vote for positive declaration. I'm just very confident because you know that it's what's fair, it's what's legal. And I know all of you and you have great brains in your head. So I appreciate it and thank you in advance.
Any other individuals on this side of the room? Over here? In the back?
Hi, my name's Gavin Tinkin. I attend Kingston High School and I'm 15 years old. I am coming here to address the lithium ion battery plant that is going to be placed at the Coleman High School. And I would like to say that putting this in people's backyards and schools' backyards is very dangerous because I'm sure many of you are aware that in 1986 in modern day Ukraine, there was a reactor meltdown at Chernobyl, which released radioactive materials across of Europe. And those radioactive materials are not quite like what this battery plant would leak. This battery plant would leak hydrofluoric acid, which hydrofluoric acid melts bone and skin. And for me, I feel scared for my life, scared for my friend's life, if that were to melt down across the state of Kingston, Hurley, Ulster Park, and many other places around the Ulster County. Thank you.
Over here, there was one in the middle. Yep.
Hello, everybody. My name is Donita Johnson. I live at 486 Mountain View Avenue in Hurley, New York. I've addressed this board numerous times before regarding the proposed BESS facility on 430 Hurley Avenue at the former Coleman site. To be clear, I'm still 100% opposed to this project, and I'm still imploring all of you to declare a positive declaration under SECRA. In addition to this, I'm very concerned in regard to the water source for this proposed project. It's my understanding that the water is to be sourced from Rolling Meadows Water Corporation. From a manufacturing standpoint, lithium extraction and refining are water intensive, draining aquifers and stressing already fragile water systems. Operation and safety. Some battery facilities require water for cooling and fire suppression. In regions that are already fighting over scarce water, such as Texas, the Midwest, and all of the drought areas that Chuck had mentioned, this adds one more competing demand. So while communities, not just in the town of Ulster, but Hurley, Kingston, may face restrictions on well usage, irrigation, or even your backyard water hose, corporations are going to be guaranteed water rights for industrial energy projects. May I ask you what part of this is right or just? Combined with all of the other safety issues surrounding this ill-conceived, unsafe project, here is yet another reason for you to all to say no. Thank you.
Mr. Bauer.
Good evening. My name is Steve Bauer, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to discuss this positive declaration. Just want to let you know that a week ago, 2 more containers out in Boulder City, Nevada, which are very similar to what is going in at the Coleman site, caught fire. 2 of them caught fire and burned for 2 days. Again, this is out in the middle of the desert and it's not in a residential zone. Just wanted to, for an FYI, the fire chief in the interview was very surprised because he was told that it was safe and there would be monitoring. And again, no matter how much monitoring or how safe they tell you it is, it's not. So, that's it. Thank you.
Anybody else on this side? Sir, you're the last one. Come on.
My name is Jeremy Lenardicus. I live at 67 Main Street in Hurley. I also just wanted to shout out within the last 24 hours, Peoria, Arizona, another one of these exploded. I'd invite everyone to look at the images because it's shocking. It's shocking that we're considering this to me, someone who lives close by. If you just go to Google Maps, I would also ask everyone, just go to Google Maps, zoom out, look at the neighborhood, and look at pictures of the other battery farms that exist. It's like the idea that this is being considered is shocking to me. And I would just hope that beyond the POSDEC, I don't know if there's some way to just not do the project, because and as someone who, I don't want to be a NIMBY as well, and I deeply care about the environment, but this is not the right answer to these problems, I don't think.
Thank you. Are there any other comments in the backs?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for letting me come up and speak. I don't have papers and documents and information. I think a lot of other people did a really good job presenting that, but I just wanted to say we're all neighbors. Whether you live in the town of Ulster, town of Hurley, Kingston, we are all neighbors. We have family and communities, kids, I know you guys are going to do the right thing. I have children and they're here. Their friends are talking about this. My thing is, most of the time legislation is made after the fact. When something happens, when a disaster happens, they make laws to make people safe. We've already seen these things happen in other places. We don't want to be the ones that have to pass legislation after the fact. So
Thank you.
we think that.
Any other comments? Is there anyone else that would like to go? Anyone else? Yes, sir. About other topics that are not on the agenda. If you have a comment to make about the POSDEC, please make it now. It should be now, because we will be considering the action on the agenda when we get to our business. So your input is important now, not after the fact.
Thank you, Supervisor. I actually have a printed out copy of a current national newspaper article of great consequence. So I'll just come right to the point, and then I'll arrange to pass those over when you close the comment.
First, your name, sir?
I'm Randolph Horner. I've lived in Woodstock for 24 years.
Thank you, sir.
I consider myself to be your neighbor. And I'm very concerned because I spent 20 years in the renewable energy business. I'm still in the renewable energy business, but I spent 20 years in solar alone. And there's vast confusion about the effectiveness and the utility, the usefulness of the mega battery complex that is before you for consideration. So the article that I'm going to pass over is a national publication called Renewable Energy News, a very reputable publication, talking about a report from the Energy Information Agency of our national government. And it can be boiled down to one simple thing. This massive storage facility has little or nothing to do with renewable energy. And I say that as an expert in renewable energy. We make very, very little solar. It is all consumed as it is made. There's nothing to store. We have no wind energy in the Hudson Valley. On the other hand, I would commend Terragen for their co-locating massive energy storage facilities at the two upstate wind projects that they desperately want to get built. That's the place to put it. Down here, we have other approaches to making revenue, for paying taxes, and for bolstering energy supplies. That will be a discussion for another day. But the article that I will, if you will allow it, I'll pass it to the clerk for each of you to have a copy, and I'll also leave some out here for the public.
Please provide it to the clerk for the record.
Okay, I have to go. I got a call from overseas while you were having the earlier comments. So what this tells us is the following. The main driver for these large battery projects has nothing to do with renewable energy. It is an arbitrage factor. Now, I know you're credential supervisor. I know when I say arbitrage, you know exactly what I mean. I'll say to the others here present, we're talking about buy cheap, sell high. So these battery arrays, according to the Energy Information Agency, are taking in power. In our case, it would be all fossil, and selling it, taking in at night when it's cheapest, and selling it into the market the next day at a profit. All well and good to make a profit, but this mega battery would be subsidized federally and by the state with monies that are taken from us in the system benefit charge. And those subsidies, if they're spent anywhere with Terragen, need to be at their upstate wind projects where there actually is that scarce opportunity of a good to be provided. The wind blows very much at night up in central New York. The loads are small. So to shift that production by large-scale battery storage to deliver it into the marketplace the next day is a perfect combination for Terragen. And because they cannot do all, I don't understand why they're fooling around down here, causing a lot of people to have a lot of headaches and heartaches when they ought to be required by NYSERDA to devote their attention only at their upstate wind projects. So I don't know if I've talked through my minutes, but I will pass over this article and hope we can have more community discussions, not about people who are NIMBYs or against something, but about the fact that we need to be smarter and not be beguiled by propaganda instead of facts. So I appreciate the opportunity to step up, Supervisor, and my deep respect for the rest of the board as you continue, but we need to dig into this a whole lot more. And as they used to say in the investment banking business, when somebody says rush, 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 I rush to the door. So thank you very much.
Are there any other individuals here who have a personal statement to make? Personal statement from anyone? Ms. Freed, you're free to read into the record your written. You're good? Thank you. Does that conclude public comment? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, in your package are the minutes of the meetings for September 4th and September 25th. May I have a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I will second
Is there any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Reevy, Communications?
Today, I received several emails. I will list the names of the senders regarding the Alcazar ESS project. The emails requested a positive declaration and a 90-day public scoping process. They were received from Kyle Black, Lisa Pollock, Karen Richard, and Tyler Hubbs, Isabel A.D. Bangston, Anna Chetnick, Jennifer Scott, Richard Tunkel, and Sherry Vita Mojica. Second communication is an email received today from Michael Madison, who is the Deputy Director of Ulster County Department of Emergency Services. It reads, reaching out to inform you that Governor Hochul has implemented a statewide burn ban in effect starting today, October 2nd, due to increased fire risk and continued dry conditions. The burn ban will be in effect for 14 days from October 2nd to October 15th and will be reevaluated prior to expiration. The burn ban prohibits the starting of outdoor fires statewide for purposes of brush, debris disposal, as well as uncontained campfires, recreational fires. That's it for communications. Would you like me to go into my department head report or just?
Since you're already there and you're volunteering, we will move on now to department head reports. And I will allow the town clerk to go first.
For the town clerk's office, notable numbers to date. To date, we have issued 53 marriage licenses. Since the deadline for the real IDs push, we have satisfied 70 requests for copies of marriage licenses. We have received and closed 65 FOIL requests, collected a little over $5,000 in sales for DEC hunting and fishing licenses, of which the town retains about 5%. The rest is swept by New York State. Activities to date, note, we had the senior picnic August 29th, the senior bus trip September 23rd. We just this week started registration for Biddy basketball. That's youth basketball. You can sign up at the town clerk's office. And we've announced this before, but I'm reiterating that this year, instead of the trunk or treat, we'll be holding a fall festival that's hosted by the Recreation Committee. That will be Sunday, October 26th from 1 to 5 at Robert Post Park. We'll have vendors, food trucks, games, different businesses and individuals will be there. And Councilman Schatzel came up with the idea of having fire companies, different town departments, and the police department having a tug of war competition. So that will be held that day. More information it is on our website and on our Facebook page, and I'll continue to update the public on that. Last meeting, I gave a report regarding the state's mandates for municipal websites. I want to say that in July, after the work of Councilman Van Cleek and I, and Anna Harrod McGrew, who is also a town resident, she also works for Cornell Cooperative Extension. We added a new component to our website called Disaster Preparedness. It's now a multi-layered new addition to our website. It has its own tab, and we will be updating that regularly as seasons change throughout the year.
Mr. Rose for the Water Department.
God bless you.
Everyone. Water Department's been busy the last 3 months. We've had 50 service calls, 187 markouts. Central Hudson is replacing all their poles. We replaced a mixer in our large south tower. We ran a new electric line and to and up the new small south tower for a mixing system. Installed a SCADA system on the new small south tower. We worked valves in the Ulster, Glen Eyrie, Bright Acres water districts, have done all required testings up to date. And on Monday night, we flushed all the hydrants in Ulster, Sauk Hill Road, Cherry Hill, Spring Lake water districts with the help of the sewer department and highway department. We had 20 employees there and everything went well. And that's about it. Any
Questions from the board? Thank you.
Water
Okay.
tastes good.
Mr. Majori. for the sewer department.
Good evening Supervisor and good evening Town Board members. Sewer Department's doing well. We're fully staffed. Everybody's happy and healthy. I'd like to thank the other departments. We've had a lot of sewer breaks this year, which are pretty uncommon for our history. But so far to date, we've replaced about 75 feet of sewer main. All of that sewer main repairs have been at very deep depths, high groundwater, poor soil conditions, involving a lot of, specialty trench boxes and preparations to complete those projects. So I thank everybody who helped out on that. That was a big undertaking. By having the town employees repair these sewer breaks, we saved the town a lot of money. They both happened, both areas of problems were in the Ulster district. Other things in the Ulster district are the digester project that's coming along well. The DEC submission has taken place. That's been released. It's under review by DEC. We're hopeful to hear comments from DEC shortly. We expect maybe the next 2 months of back and forth comments before we get, the go-ahead from DEC. Other stuff going on in the Ulster district, we have a resolution tonight for the replacement of our belt press. Our belt press that we're replacing and upgrading, it's an in-kind replacement, but this unit is from 1985. It served us well. The company went out of business in the late 90s. So we've had to fabricate all of the parts and keep this machine running, which we've done, and it's performing well. We're getting great numbers. That's why we're sticking with the same technology and replacing with an in-kind technology. Moving on to Whittier Sewer District. Whittier, everything's doing well. We've had our DEC inspection. That was satisfactory. Everything was good with that. We have a few projects over there that are coming to, coming to light. A couple addition, housing couple houses going up, a few little things. The Washington Avenue Sewer District, that's had a sewer district extension. We've gone under the throughway under 28, serving the Rupco project. We're also extending to some of the other nearby properties in that area. So that's a good service. Very bad soil conditions, high groundwater. The need of sewer service is important. Spring Lake's doing well. We've had a few properties connect. We're working on a trailer park connection right now. So we're doing well with building out all of the Spring Lake Sewer District.
So that's the trailer park that was originally not, and they're coming in now?
This was the trailer park that was in, yes,
They had
phase
phases,
2. They didn't take advantage of the pump stations and all of the stuff granted to them by the low income grant.
Mhm.
And now their septic has failed. They've been under a consent order from Ulster County Health Department, and now they're mandated to connect to the sewer, and they're footing the bill for that connection.
In that case, does each trailer have to have a pump, or are they able to consolidate a few?
No, that trailer park has it pretty lucky in comparison to a lot of other trailer parks where it's a centralized treatment system now. They
Also, you
have,
can pump from there.
yeah, so they have 2 septic tanks hitting 1 leach field. So it's a pretty quick, easy job to connect. And it's going to be a quad station for the trailer park, and it's going to be a duplex for the apartment house on the site.
Oh,
So Yeah, there's going to be 6 new pumps coming on just for that one parcel. So it's quite a bit of flow, and that's at the end of the line on Maxwell. So it's a good place to have it. The only other flow we have currently on Maxwell is the 2 fire department properties. So it's good to have that flow, keep everything moving. Does anybody have any questions?
If you were to guess, what do you think would be when you'll be able to come back to us with a proposal on the digester system?
Proposal on the digester system. So
I know you gave us, you told us what you want to do, but I mean, a plan to move ahead. So we'll be able to go to bid.
yeah, we cannot go out to bid until we get the green light from DEC.
So what do you think?
So currently, all of the equipment is, unless DEC asks for any change, which they shouldn't on the specific pieces of equipment, we're 98% through all of the equipment spec, and we're working on all of the structural and civil components of this project. So mechanical, we're going to be changing boiler locations. The boiler is not needed for this new technology, but the control building still needs heat. So got to change that up. We have to change a lot of electrical stuff and control stuff up. So we're working through all of that. I had meetings yesterday and today, and we're moving along well. All those details are already developed. We just can't release them until we get approval.
I understand. So so when do you think you would get approval or disapproval? And when you do, how long do you think it would be?
Yeah, so
Not exact, I'm just asking for.
no, like I previously said, I'm hoping for the next 2 months to be under DEC review.
Okay.
So hopefully by, we'll say December, we should get the green light from DEC. I'm hopeful before the end of the year,
And then we'd be ready to go to bid?
that would be the plan. So right now, we're trying to iron out all the details so that we can bid the equipment. It's important to get the equipment bid out as soon as possible because that has long lead times. These are all custom parts. Nothing's on the shelf. Everything is built specific for this project.
Anything more than 6 months, do you think?
Yeah, it's I think they're estimating 40 to 50 week.
Oh, so it could be a year.
It could
to
be
get it apart.
some
Okay.
of them. I mean, it's a long
So we
lead
could
time
be having this discussion again next year,
as far as
progress on the digester and
it's going to
everything, yeah.
be a
So it'll
multi-year
be
project.
into
Yes.
27 then.
This is a major undertaking.
Just want to understand so we don't bother you in the meantime, but on the
You-
same token, we need to know.
You can bother me anytime. I'm always available to answer questions.
Yes, you are.
I appreciate any questions
So
and
this is not a quick remedy fix. I mean, we had
It's
the.
not
the-
something we're
the-
going to be
The
discussing.
ultraviolet system had a schedule, but you're not at that point yet to give us an idea. So I understand.
so the ultraviolet system, just like the bell press, was in-kind replacement, so that accelerated it. I didn't need to go through all the DEC review. That was also a quicker process because the UV system is pretty much on the shelf type of thing. They had to customize a few things, but it was a pretty quick turnaround on the manufacturing.
Okay.
Vincent, we spoke before about the bid process. Has it been worked out? Is it going to be 1 bid, 2 bid, as far as the different trades?
So most likely how it's gonna go is we'll have an equipment bid, then we'll have the construction bid, and most likely we'll also have a second labor bid involving the electric. So we'll probably bid the mechanical construction and also the electric construction.
And the last time this came up, we were talking about structural changes in the building also. So is that?
Currently, it doesn't appear that we're gonna need any. We're gonna need a new roof, we're gonna need changes. There will be structural, I'll call them upgrades, not necessarily changes, but upgrades. So the digester lids will be removed. We'll have concrete slabs on top of these digesters, going forward. It's not a pressurized vessel. The vessels are actually under vacuum. So it's a much different system. and it uses air, so it doesn't produce any methane. There's no explosion hazard. Like I said, the system is actually under vacuum. So, and that's for odor control. But anyway, it's a much safer system with a lot less liability.
Okay. Thank you.
So if they were separate bids, who is going to do the scheduling for all the different tradesmen? Like, is that gonna be something you're gonna be responsible for, or is the? engineers?
It'll be myself in conjunction with the engineers, spearheaded by Bernier and Larios, but we also have other engineers involved. We have structural engineers, we have electrical engineers, and we got mechanical engineers. So Bernier and Larios is overseeing it all. I'm involved with every aspect of it, but there are other engineers involved. So it'll be a collaboration on scheduling, tactics, and getting through this. This is a
It's quite a coordination.
operationally, it's going to be a lot. So I've been working on a lot of, theories on how to handle this when the system's down, but it's going to be a lot.
Any additional questions? Chief Berardi?
All right.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you. Thanks.
Susie, please make a note that Frank Petromol for the Highway Department will not get off easy just because he's on vacation. He's got a report next meeting. Sir?
Can I sneak in something then? Just to annoy Frank?
He's not here to respond.
Exactly why. Good evening. I want to thank the town board and the town supervisor. I've reached my 8th year as the police chief. I couldn't done it without the support of you guys as well as men and women that work for me every day and make my job easier. 2025 incident wise, we're up 6% compared to last year. We're up 29% in cases, 10% in arrests. We're down 23% in tickets, up 18% in DUIs, and down 7% in accidents. Overall, we've seen increase obviously for calls for service, as I've said, compared to last year. This year, we held our annual Cops and Cones event at the Jolly Cow in partnership with them. We appreciate their continued support. We participated in several Operation Safe Child ID events through participating businesses throughout the town, schools as well. We've conducted numerous child passenger safety checks, walk-ins, phone calls, people come in. We have 3 certified child passenger safety seat technicians on staff. And we just recently initiated designated patrols at the Kingston Motel to help reduce the calls for service we experience up there. Obviously, everybody's been reading local news. We've contracted with the owner of the Kingston Motel, and he compensates the police department for the services that are provided. So various days of the week, various hours of the day. 2 officers are assigned to strictly just the Kingston Motel to provide service to that area of the town and specifically that location. Questions, concerns?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Tutt for the Building Department.
Evening Supervisor, members of the board. Try to be brief. Central Hudson has the framework erected for their new annex. They'll start working on the interior shortly. Dick's Sporting Goods has completed the new facade and is working on the interior. I'll get to something in a minute. Bosie's is open in their new location at iPark. Thus far, everyone that attends is happy. Jersey Mike's is preparing to open a new location in the Kingswood Plaza. Those of you who don't know, that is behind Five Guys. Hanford's moving forward with their renovations projected to be completed mid-December. Campus World has completed removal of the former Big Scots. Construction of the new showroom should start this month. Rubco moving along with their remodel of the former Ramada Inn. completion sometime middle of next year. Prestige Toyota is working on phase 1 of their renovations, phase 2 to follow end of the year. Chick-fil-A has submitted plans for their new store. Considering the scope of work, I'm not sure on a projected completion date. With that said, as with all ongoing projects, my response to when they will be done is when they're finished. All employees are healthy. My new clerk is adjusting to the job. I would like to note, though, that since I became department head beginning of 2020, the scope and size of projects coming to the town have grown considerably in the last 8 months. To date, we have issued 438 permits, 27 certificates of occupancy, and 408 certificates of compliance. Last note, the state has adopted new codes. They will go in effect December 31st, 2025. As with previous adoptions, I'm not looking forward to the transition.
Any questions?
Will you be able to give us I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
will you be able to give us at some point, bullet points on what those new codes and how they'll affect the town and the resident? Is that something you have or they publish or anything?
So as in the past, New York takes not the most recent, but it takes a version of ICC. In this case, it's version 2023. And they modify it as they see fit. So when the code comes out, there will be sections of the code that are New York specific. As far as bullet points, it'll be about 400 pages long. So what I attempt to do is I attempt to pick the highlights, okay, to present to the contractors. You might want to pay attention to this. You might want to pay attention to that, because it's very rare that any of the contractors actually purchase or read the code. The code's available to everyone free online.
Okay.
So they're telling me that it'll be a transition period from the end of this month. The codes have been issued. They have been published. What I have not found is last time around, they gave us an electronic version, 5 years electronically available. So we purchased our own hard copy set. They haven't said what they're doing this time around, because it's very difficult to review the code electronically. It does help considerably when issuing an order to remedy, as I did for the Kingston Motel, because rather than have to type out the entire code section, I cut and paste. That's how I can generate, 5, 6, 7 pages of codes. And along the same lines, Susie graciously gave me a Word version of the town code, so I can do the same thing. So it helps to expedite any remedies.
Any
other-
additional comments? Thank you. Ms. Sweeney?
Good evening. I will make this extremely short.
Why?
As everyone knows, I've been working on the budget, assisting the supervisor. We published that last night, and it is on our website. As for personnel in the department, we have 3 applicants. The posting is still online. We are still accepting applications. I have 2 interviews next week. One other interview that we already interviewed, but I'm going to call the other personnel committee member in to interview next week as well, hoping to get somebody hired early the following week at the latest. That would be very nice. We do have the employee in that position leaving on December 5th. And there's a lot of training to go along with that. Continuing to work on some standard operating procedures within the office and updating those. And last but not least, I will just give you some budget numbers for 2025. We have collected 94% of our revenues for the 25 budget and expensed about 70% of our budget. But don't forget the end of December, the end of the year is when a lot of our expenses come in. Other than that, year-to-date interest, $728,133. Any questions?
You wanted to be short.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the department head reports for tonight. Moving on to new business. As Ms. Sweeney indicated, we published the town of Ulster's tentative budget on the town's website yesterday, and it is being presented officially to the town board tonight. The top line number is that for townwide districts, the general ambulance and the highway combined, 6.94% increase. When that is factored through the assessment value increase, the residents will see a 3.21% increase on their tax bill. We finally have a year in which Mr. Tutt's activity pays off in the tax base, where we've had a 3.6% growth in our assessment roll. So it is finally coming to fruition, and the citizens in the community will start to see the benefits of our development processes from the last couple of years. We will be discussing this budget repeatedly at the next several meetings, as well as having a special budget public hearing towards the end of October. Moving forward on the agenda, the next item is a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the renewal with the MVP Health Group for 2026 for the HP EPO health insurance. This is an approximate 14.5% increase. May I have a motion?
I will make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the municipal advisor services agreement with Munistat Services for 2025, 2026. This is the organization that files the town's required securities and exchange filings.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Hayner, the next two items are personnel.
All right, my first one is from Corey Schmidt. It says, Chief Kyle Barati, please accept this letter as a notification of my resignation as a police officer for the Town of Ulster Police Department. I have had nothing but positive experience working as an officer for this department and alongside such incredible staff. I regret my time here serving as a police officer could not have been longer. Unfortunately, I no longer have the time to invest in the Ulster Police Department, and I feel like it would be best for me to resign. I truly appreciate the opportunity that you presented me, and I am sincerely grateful. While I value my time with this department, I am conflicted as a full-time for another department, run an independent business, and have a family of my own. Thank you again, and I wish you and all the Town of Ulster Police Department staff the best. Sincerely, Corey Schmidt.
May I have a motion to accept his resignation?
Make that motion.
A second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, resolution appointing sole town assessor. Date, October 2nd, 2025, whereas the New York State Office of Real Property Tax Service has notified the towns with sole appointed assessors that said appointment terms are expiring on September 30th, 2025. And whereas the town board has recommended reappointing Daniel Baker as sole assessor to a full term. Now therefore be it resolved, the town Daniel Baker be appointed as sole assessor of the Town of Ulster for a term that begins October 1st, 2025 and expires on September 30th, 2031. And be it further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be forwarded to the New York State Office of Real Property Tax Service.
May I have a motion on the appointment?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a resolution authorizing the emergency repairs to the Wildwood Lane, Glenary, 36-inch stormwater line by Harold Construction in the amount of $48,630. This is a 36-inch line, stormwater line that has collapsed. The Highway Department has taken and replaced the stormwater line, But in this case, Mr. Petromall has made a recommendation that the interior of the line be reinforced with a PVC lining that is cured in place. And the contractor is Harold Construction, who has experience in this matter.
Make that motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, in order to pay for said repairs, there's a resolution transferring $48,630 from the General Fund Landfill Closure Reserve Fund to the Highway Fund for emergency repairs. May I have a motion to accept this resolution?
And I will second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a resolution to initiate seeker and refer to the Ulster County Planning Board, Kingston Self-Storage Partners, Project 978, 146 Route 28, Kingston, Section Block and Lot 48.13-2-21.310. This is for an expansion to an existing self-storage project on Route 28 behind the Kingston Romeo Nissan facility. May I have a motion on the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Ulster to make an expenditure from the town's capital reserve fund for the benefit of the East Kingston Fire Department for the East Kingston Fire Protection District. This is for the replacement of the elevator system at the firehouse that was declared unsafe. May I have a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a resolution adopting a positive declaration under seeker for Alcazar ESS LLC Battery Energy Electric Storage System Project, 430 Hurley Avenue, Hurley, New York, P973, SBL 48.17-1-26. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? Discussion.
I have a couple things to discuss on this. Last week after the meeting, Mary Ann was contacted and I was contacted, and I think they were attempting to contact the rest of you. I had not been able to be part of the public when the Terrigen did their Zoom session for the public. So they took about an hour and did a Zoom session. We both attended it with us. The two of us attended it. It was Daniel Ahaus and it was Mark Turner from the company. So he spent about an hour with us, went through his slide deck of what he was presenting. A couple things that stood out to me. One were that to be very, very clear, his proposal said they were considering lithium iron phosphate, which is safer than some of the other kind. And he reiterated upon questioning that they in fact are considering and will plan to use lithium iron phosphate. That was a verbal commitment, but he did say that in that meeting. We questioned about some building standards, some design, right? About location, why there, the explanation of the connection there. Central Hudson has that major connection, or the NYSERDA has that major connection there. So there was discussion that was important to them to be close to that connection. I did bring up to them a question that's been posed to me on a couple occasions, which did help by your comment tonight. I said to him, I've been told that if we were to declare a pause deck, that you were going to lose your funding and the project was dead. And he said that in fact is not true. And you're nodding your head that is not true. And that he said, what was true was that they are trying to commit to a NYSERDA 2028 deadline to be online. Which involves.
Is that correct? You keep nodding your head, so we listened well. Okay. No, you're not allowed to, but you are allowed to nod your head. Yes.
So what they told us was that they are not naive, that they were preparing and would like a neg deck, but because they must have listened to the tape or someone told them what last week's meeting was about, since they knew there was a discussion about a pos deck and there'd be a resolution on our agenda, that they wanted to make sure that they talked with us.
And they have a lot more to tell us. And there was a lot more information to relay to us because I literally had 70 questions all written down. And they were all insurance questions, environmental questions. I had a lot of questions. And we didn't have enough time in that hour to cover even 40 of them. So I had a ton of questions. And as you know, I have a lot of questions during these board meetings, so I had a lot more for them.
Right.
So that was something that I didn't feel comfortable. I knew enough about anything. So I cannot honestly make any decision as far as my questions being answered and everything that I feel. They made it perfectly clear. It doesn't matter what we decide. They're going to go through with it one way or the other. Their project.
I was surprised to hear, or not surprised, I was a bit encouraged to hear your comment, because I don't know what order is when it comes to this. I need clarification. What did you say to us tonight? Can you just clarify? He's allowed to tell. Can he-
Please repeat the statement from Terrigen that you made in the opening.
Yeah, sure. We want to work with you
Mhm.
on the environmental review.
And that you, what did you say about the positive deck? You said
Oh, yeah,
something.
if you issue a pos deck, we're gonna work with you. There's no, I want to make it clear. If you issue a pos deck, we're not suing. I don't know if there was some indication that we were gonna sue on that.
There was a direct implication.
Yeah,
It was not by you, nor by your two people, but it's been said, it's been quoted in the papers and it's been talked about that if we did that, that there was a threat of a lawsuit.
No, we're not gonna do that. That would be a death knell. That means we're not gonna work with you too. And actually, I'll fill you in. If you can't, there's no real lawsuit. We wouldn't be able to sue you if you issued a pos deck. Yeah.
Thank you very much for
Thank
clarification.
you.
So I do have some questions based on that. I have some questions and we should all have these, but to our attorney, Jason, if you could answer these questions.
We need you next.
Yeah, the possible misunderstanding was that do you have a concern as our attorney that if we were to declare a positive declaration, that we have done something wrong that would leave the town open to litigation?
No, I don't think we've ever implied that at all.
You didn't, no. I
Okay.
said it was said that if there was a positive deck, that we could be sued. That was basically a line in a newspaper, which I think it was a misquote, but I don't know if it was true or not.
I'm not sure who said that. That doesn't sound
Let me be clear.
correct.
I raised two court issues
Mhm.
based upon facts in other communities
Mhm.
where they took actions which may or may not have been similar to what we are contemplating,
Mhm.
where there was a lawsuit
Mhm.
and where there was an annulment of the pos deck. And I also said at the last meeting that I have an email here from our Nelson Pope consultant who answers the questions as to timeline, and he recommended a 60 to 90-day phase to complete the EAF Part 2 and a draft Part 3. So those are the steps, correct?
So that is usually how it works. We have a timeline. We wait for the EAF Part 2 and 3 to be completed. At that point, the town board or planning board would be able to make a determination, neg deck or pos deck. That's usually the timeframe. Due to the concern of community residents, and you've heard from the applicant's attorney that they are willing to work with the town on a pos deck. I'm comfortable, even though we're not following the typical timeframe, we are able to issue a pos deck at this point.
Does declaring a pos deck start a clock that we then have to know at the other end? Like just been talking about the 90-day scoping and things like that.
There's a time frame that can be set out in a supplemental resolution, But basically what this means is we would need a draft environmental impact statement to be prepared typically by the applicant.
And in my discussion with Max was that he said that his next step would be having to do some paperwork with you. Mark, yeah.
Max
No,
is the other
no,
guy.
Stack, no.
Max is the guy.
No, our guy's Stack.
Max.
Max has
Yes,
indicated
Max,
he would
yes.
like to finish the Part 2 EAF,
Mhm.
which is the town's review of
No.
the Part 1.
No, what he told me was that if we did, what I want to say was that if we did the declaration, that he then had a responsibility to make some documentation.
So we have to file that. There's an environmental.
I'm sorry,
bulletin.
that's.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so you guys got to talk tomorrow.
Yesterday.
Oh, good. We didn't know you had a schedule.
We didn't know that
Yeah.
happened. Okay.
So, so Max said that that was not in conflict. What
No.
you're saying, I understand, Jim, Max had said earlier that he was in the process of working with the applicant to figure out, to do the Part 2 and 3.
The Part 2 is prepared on behalf of the town by Max.
Yep.
Which is a response to the Part 1 and the risks that were analyzed in the Part 1. And it takes into consideration, as I have been repeatedly saying since public comment has started on this, the comments that the public have made
Mhm.
will be included in the town's Part 2 response. Part 3 is the applicant's response, which may include draft technical studies responding to both the items that were raised from the EAF review and public comment.
So what was meant when Mark said, no, we are not pulling out.
Mhm.
He didn't say directly, but it was almost implied like, if you do go to he said something to the effect, if you do go pause, we prefer you do positive earlier than later.
Mhm.
Because it would enable for both the public
Mhm.
and for them to really get to work.
Mhm.
Is that a out of the scope statement? Or is that?
No, that's perfectly fine. Sure.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I guess my question to us is, if we are all saying we've got a lot of questions yet, how does declaring how would declaring a pause deck be prohibitive to that? So if our actual admission is, I'm not ready to vote negative, I have a lot of questions yet, why would we not want to vote a positive declaration?
Can I say something?
Yeah, please.
So, yesterday when we had our Skype meeting and we went through the whole thing, they showed us all the pictures again and to cut it short, I actually asked Mark, I said, there's been cases where when all the paperwork is not filed, which we are not there yet, we're not even close. When a town issues a pause deck, you're gonna get sued. Because it's easier for them to push the thing through. And I asked Mark, I said, well, are you planning on suing us? Is that your plan to get this thing pushed faster? And he couldn't answer me. And he wouldn't answer me. And I can't sit here and say to everybody out there, I'm not gonna say yes or no if I don't have all my information either.
That's what I said.
Because if you read all the other laws and what's happened, it gets pushed through.
But their attorney just stood here and told us.
He's not gonna, so give it to us in writing. Give us to us in writing that you're not gonna do that.
Jason, can you ask him, is that something that they're willing to do?
Well, I think he just gave a statement. If you want.
Yeah, a statement in public is
Well, the statement doesn't say the litigation.
They could
So
find.
do you think if we do this,
please.
Like push through, I guess I want to say this to you, and
because
Yeah.
we are actually being negligent by not letting you guys finish what yous are working on.
No,
So it gives
yeah.
you cause to have a lawsuit against us.
I will say to you that if you issue the pause deck, if that's the course you want to go, we're not gonna sue you for issuing the pause deck.
So go ahead.
Can you say that again in the
Or
microphone?
if you go, because I don't know if Mark was on the Skype call. If you are to issue the pause deck, we're not gonna sue you for saying that you're gonna issue the pause deck.
but you could potentially sue us for things that we didn't do prior to issuing the pause deck.
No,
No?
no,
Then I can't see why you can't give it to us in writing.
I can,
He said he could.
I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
So can we table this? Can we table this for today and come back
I mean,
and
I can write
revisit
it-
this?
I can give you my statement and say that if you, for issuing the pause deck, I mean,
We need it on your letterhead. We need it all
Yeah.
legal, everything. Yeah. Is that something, Jason? Am I right in asking for that?
It's a little unusual, with all due respect. I mean,
Well,
the
we-
attorney,
This is something we've never done before.
Let him answer.
we've done this before, sure. In the town? Yeah. Yeah, so I just want to clarify the question here. What are you asking the attorney to do?
We're asking the attorney to put it in writing that they're not going to sue us. That's what Mike just
Okay.
asked him.
That's, if you would like to do so, that's great, sure.
Is there any reason why we would not table this at this moment in time until we get anything? Supervisor,
I have to ask a question.
go ahead.
If he goes into the office, in my office, and types up a letter with his name at the top and his signature on the bottom, is that official enough for you?
I actually have my computer in my office.
Is that sufficient? So in other words, we can get a letter tonight.
And we already have a first and a second, so I don't know what we're
So
doing.
I think we should,
Correct right now.
Right.
We have a first and a second, so we have two ways to go. We can either, excuse me.
Hmm.
We
We can vote on it pending the letter comes to us later tonight.
We can vote on this exactly like that, or you can make a motion to table, and you'd have to have a majority to table. I have to say, in my mind, I have way more answers now than I had an hour ago. And having their attorney come here and say that is way different than what I had expected. Because what I had read within the last couple of weeks and what I had heard was different. But to have them come forward and have their attorney here and say that, if this project is, we have reasons why we want it and we have reasons why we don't want it. We have to stay impartial. The pause deck, from what I can read after reading the Seeker cookbook, the pause deck is a tool that the New York has put through years ago that gives us all of the tests and makes it it's for the client, it's for the applicant and for the town and for the community to totally flesh out any questions there are. And at the completion of that, we then have to make a decision. Is that correct?
so issuing the pause deck, that is the heightened environmental review of the project.
Mm-hmm.
And the town is free to decide neg deck or pause deck. That is in your authority. And it is highly unlikely that any applicant would sue you just for making a pause deck or a neg deck. That's just, it's not ripe for litigation.
So could I then amend the motion to say pending the receipt of a letter from the applicant confirming that they are not going to sue us for declaring a pause deck? Would that be appropriate to add that to that resolution you made?
Sure, that's fair.
All right, did
Sure.
you get what I said, Sue? I need if I make that, I need a second on, I make the motion for the amendment, I need a second on the amendment.
I second that.
Then we need to vote on the amendment.
Roll call vote on the amendment. That is
That's all it
correct.
is, just the amendment.
Councilwoman DeGroot,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hayner,
Yes.
Councilman Schatzel,
No.
Councilman Van Cleve.
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes.
Four to one.
Okay, so now we've done that. I'm calling for a vote. Or
On,
you can, somebody can
on-
ask for a table if you want.
no. On the amended resolution
Mhm.
as presented, which has been conditioned for approval. And the condition being the receipt of a letter from the applicant's attorney indicating a position of no litigation
Correct.
on the pause deck. Okay,
Is there any, Jason, is there anything we should be concerned about since you are our attorney and we're
No,
sitting?
I feel fine about that. As you know, the applicant was here. The applicant's attorney spoke on the record.
Mhm.
This meeting is recorded. And he said he would work with the town, neg deck or pos deck. So I'm comfortable with that.
I know we had talked about the
He's
option.
literally writing the email right now.
I know we talked
They
about the.
can't fire you, can they?
They're technically not supposed to. I know that we had talked about the option of tabling. But there's information here that I didn't know as of an hour ago. So my desire to table is off the table. I want to call for a vote, but if someone wants to make a motion for a table, you need to do that and get a second, and then we have to vote on that. So not hearing that, I would ask that we vote on the resolution.
on the matter of the resolution as presented, subject to the receipt of a letter from the applicant's attorney indicating their position will not, the town's position will not result in litigation on the pos deck. I ask for a roll call vote. The original that has been modified.
Councilwoman DeCruz.
God, it's never been this quiet. in here. Yes.
Councilwoman Hayner.
Yes.
Councilman Schatzel.
No.
Councilman Van Cleef.
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes. Any additional comments?
I'd like to just read one.
Please.
When a town board issues a positive declaration under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, seeker, before all paperwork is complete, the action is likely to be invalid and exposes the town board and municipality to legal changes. New York courts have constantly ruled in favor of strong compliance with seeker. So that's why I
I
said no.
understand. I understand.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, can I move on?
I'm fine.
Okay. Moving on, there's a resolution in our package to award the bid on the belt press for the Ulster wastewater treatment plant. This is to be funded through the reserve account of the Ulster Sewer District. May I have a motion to accept the resolution and present it? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is the presentation only. It requires no action by the town board of a resolution approving the preliminary budget for 2026. This is required to take the tentative budget, which has been presented tonight, to be adopted by the town board as the preliminary budget, and this is the budget that will go to the public hearing when it is called. The last item under new business is a discussion on Halloween events for 2025 in the town of Ulster and the setting of a curfew. In prior years, with the exception of last year, because the town ran a trunk or treat event in the parking lot at Town Hall, we have customarily established a curfew for unaccompanied minors as of 8 p.m. on Halloween night. I understand that I was informed earlier today that Halloween falls on a Friday, which means that everybody's going to want to stay out much later. So I open the floor for discussion on the curfew.
I still stand by 8 o'clock.
We can't go for 6.
I mean, we could, but that would be wrong. It's barely light, dark at that time.
It's a Friday night.
Okay,
I'm fine with 8. so.
okay, may I have a motion to set a curfew for Halloween night at 8 o'clock? And I ask that the town clerk publish said curfew on the town's website.
I make that motion.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We just voted on a pause deck. Yes. Excuse me? We're coming back to that in a future period. Mr. Tutt. final order of business tonight is a report of the building inspector on the inspection of the Kingston Motel.
You remember the date that I was there? Because I sure don't. It was a Thursday. Thank you. No, it was a Thursday. Hold on. I want to get it right here. I think it was the 18th.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So on the 18th of September, myself, my assistant, and with much help from the chief, lieutenant, and an officer, we conducted a 4-hour inspection of the Kingston Motel. Of the 66 rooms, we gained access to 61. You can tell right now that I'm under the weather. It was presented to me that it was presented to me that perhaps, you know, when I was going to do this inspection, I should wear a mask and gloves. I thought about it long and said that if I showed up, you know, wearing a mask and gloves, I probably would not have gotten into half of the units I got into for reasons that perhaps they would think I'm sick, or more importantly, they would think that they're going to make me sick. So, you know, we conducted it. No one else, my assistant who was with me the entire time, I wish I was 30 years younger like he was, you know, it did not affect him. So, which resulted in a 5.5-page document listing all the deficiencies in all the rooms we went into. And yes, every room had a deficiency.
So can I just, you're not implying, you are stating that you think you got sick from doing this inspection.
So the list is huge, you know, there was mold,
Okay.
there was.
Yet there's people
bed
living. I
bugs,
understand.
roaches.
This just shows.
All I
Wait,
cannot
there was-
definitively say.
I'm sorry, what did you say? There was what? Mold and what else?
There's mold, roaches, bed bugs. The only thing I didn't find was rodents. I didn't find mice, I didn't find rats. But
Yeah.
everything else, we found
Yucky,
everything
yucky.
else. Now, I can't definitively say that that's what caused me to become sick. It is that time of year. Could be anything. Okay, so
But 61 out of 66 units had that many issues?
5.5 pages.
I didn't count how many units it affected on. Saturday.
There were other issues with other portions of the property that were not in the rooms. Those also got written up. That resulted in a nearly 6-page ordered remedy, which referenced both town code and building code. Probably the single largest is the fact that it was approved by the town to be a hotel/motel. At this point in time, they're running it more like multifamily dwelling. It is not set up for a multifamily dwelling. So consequently, I'm waiting to hear back from county, who conducted their own inspection Tuesday of this week. I don't think they went in every room because they were there for 3 hours. So I'd like to know, you know, a lot of the stuff that they inspect, that I inspect, that they inspect overlap. There are some additional elements that they look at, being the health department, but it should be pretty much the same as what I found. So October 1st, yesterday, I hand delivered the entire packet, listing all the deficiencies in all the rooms and on the site, and all the code references that go with it, including the fact that they're operating it as a multifamily dwelling, which does not have town approval. Consequently, it doesn't have the facilities that it needs.
Can I ask you? Our town code specifically says that a hotel motel cannot serve as a long-term residence.
Correct.
Correct.
It's transient versus non-transient.
Yeah, okay, it's in our
Okay,
code.
we have this, we basically adopted what the state code, you know, going from an R1 to an R2. Being an apartment, there would be better facilities. These people would be better suited, okay, to stay long-term. If you're staying in a hotel room, you have a hotel room and you have a bathroom. You don't have cooking facilities. You don't have facilities available to clean, you know, your dishes or whatever else. So 30 days will expire on, of all days, Halloween. At which point, I will schedule to revisit.
You're not gonna go trick or treat now.
No, and we go in the morning, so we will be gone before trick or treating. I want to just, to state that I really appreciate the, Ulster PD for their presence. It probably helped in the fact that we were able to get into as many places as we did. There was not a lot, there was not a lot of negativity of me being there.
Tenants, I'm glad you were there because they want to fix.
Yeah, most all of them, the few of them didn't want the presence, which is fine. Okay, I can't force my way in. But overall, it was, we were not welcomed per se, but we weren't turned away. So did everybody get a chance to see the report, not see the report? Do you have questions about it?
I didn't see it.
All right, well, if you want, we can get, I can get it to you. Supervisor has a copy. I have multiple copies. So,
It's good report. I can see you cut and paste some stuff.
well, that's why I said, having a capability. Now, I will say though, that first 5 pages, okay, I typed that. So my typing class 40 years ago in high school finally paid off.
But seriously, that whole facility up there, I guess we couldn't go up there without being asked. I mean, I knew there was a problem with the sewer, but there was a 4-year release on that. So what prompted you to go and why didn't you go sooner, just for the record?
Okay, so first and foremost, okay, when it comes to a multifamily, all right, there are 3 ways that, according to state, there's 3 ways I am allowed into the space. 1 is owner of the facility. 2 is a registered tenant, someone who's leased or on a lease of legal age 18er. And a 3rd is a court order. So we try to avoid part 3. So when I went up there, I informed the owner that I'm here to do health and safety inspection. So he gave me a master key. Typically we don't schedule these because then it gives the individual time to correct deficiencies, which then we don't know about. So, oh no, everything's fine.
Mhm.
And then we leave and the next week, we're right back where we started. As to why it wasn't performed sooner, I'll be honest.
BOCES.
BOCES, Central Hudson, Dick's Sporting Goods. I've got multiple large-scale projects going on. So I had to schedule the time for both myself and my assistant and PD to have the time to go up there.
And when did it become aware to you that you should be planning to go? From what I understood, it wasn't that long ago, was it? Oh, has this been on your list for 4 months, or did you just decide 3 weeks ago? you
Mr.
should
Tutt,
go?
may I answer that?
Certainly.
Please.
About 5 weeks ago, I believe it was, there was an expose written in the Kingston Wire
Oh,
by a
Yep.
young journalist.
Yep.
Who made 2 visits up there.
I saw it.
And we had requests to do an inspection at the facility. I made a public statement that I was going to have Mr. Tutt within 2 weeks conduct the inspection.
So, okay, that was the prompt then. Good. Okay.
That was the prompt, but as we talked about with BOCES, we were under pressure to open the building for the school year. We had an issue with time. So we were continuing to be inquired of by the press. And finally, what was it, the 18th? I basically just said, okay, we've got BOCES open. The other issues have been handled. Let's move. And with the delay, because I made it public in the press that we were coming, I would have thought that the owner would have made an attempt. I would have thought that the county would have made an attempt to put pressure on the owner. But as we know, when Mr. Tutt showed up, he found a long list of conditions that were unacceptable.
Okay, thanks.
Now, I would like to report Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock. Chief Berardi, Mr. Kovacs and myself met with the county executive and her staff. We delivered the draft report the previous Friday. They had the opportunity to review it. They were shocked. We explained our position that now that we've had an inspection, we are under an obligation due to licensing of Mr. Tutt by the state to proceed to full violation. We have issued a notice of violation with a 30-day cure period. We will see at the end of that 30-day cure period what impact or effects that have had on the maintenance of the property and reevaluate the course of action at that point in time. We have plenty of options, which would include additional violations or going directly to court. I think it's premature to state what direction we're going to take until we get there and find out how compliant the owner has been. But more importantly, we made it clear that this was a commercial relationship between the county and the owner, and that they had an obligation to put pressure on the owner to make sure that the people that they were placing in that facility lived in acceptable conditions. So there are two fulcrums here of leverage, and hopefully they both work in parallel at the same time.
And I think we clearly have a sympathy for the people in need that require that kind of housing. And our goal is not to get them out of there. It's to assure that they have appropriate and adequate living conditions, because the county, all of us are paying for it, and they need it, and it should be right. It'd be wrong of the landowner to not be giving them what they need. They also shouldn't be destroying it, but that's between them and the landowner, right? But I mean, so we're trying to be sympathetic. We're defending them. They deserve a good place to live. And it behooves the landowner to make sure it's done the landlord to make sure it's done that way.
So I'm researching into both Title 19 and Title 18 executive with Department of State to see if I have resources available from state.
Okay.
And the other part I'm trying to research into is there were 6 vacant rooms when we did our inspection. So there were 6 rooms that had been either recently vacated or at no point. There were violations in the vacant rooms. So I'm trying to figure the way to check those rooms prior to them being reoccupied. That's a little bit more of a tricky situation because I don't want, oh yeah, here, you can have this room. And you're walking into a room that already has violations, trying to avoid that. So if we can get some sort of a plan in place, then that's probably the best way forward.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you. Chief Berardi, you've played an important part in the town's relationship with the property owner. Would you just care to share with the community the actions the police department has taken to protect the citizens that live up there?
Obviously, our relationship goes back over about 2 years now. The property owner has been receptive. I approached him this summer relative to these designated patrols. His first thought was he was a little concerned about it, wanted the position of the Department of Social Services. I assured him I believed I knew what the social services would say was relative to his responsibility to safeguard the property. That's when we entered into an agreement in September relative to those patrols. First and foremost, we've been out upfront with them relative to our ongoing concerns of safety of residents, as well as everybody that lives in the area, as well as our enforcement of violations that occur up there, criminal of those such. So he has never been hesitant about cooperating on any criminal investigation or anything we've had thus far, and I don't expect that going forward.
So we are putting extra patrols up there, and we are being compensated for those patrols.
Yes, he's going to be billed monthly for the patrols.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our scheduled agenda for tonight. I will open the floor to public comment on any topic that you wish to discuss. Ms. Hartman?
Laura Hartman, Town of Ulster. I would like to say thank you all for issuing the POS deck. Many people have been asking for it, and we appreciate all the discussion in making the declaration, so thank you. And I'd also like to thank the Terrigen lawyer for being here and offering his word that that they want to work with us with the POS deck. I do have to ask, I'm looking here at the seeker cookbook, that the POS deck then goes into scoping. So you had a question in the back about that. Just some clarification of when you would declare, it's either, the scoping is initiated either by the lead agency or at the request of the applicant. So do we have a timeline or just clarification on when that's going to happen?
I respectfully request the opportunity to consult with our planner to lay out a schedule and the steps that are going to be required to move down the road on this before I make a statement that turns out to be wrong.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Sir?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ryan Whitaker. I live at 701 Saltkill Road, Trailer Park. I am requesting to have some stop signs to be possibly put in, to installed over on Esopus Avenue and Orlando Street on the corner where the Aunt Jen's child care and pre-K is. There's a stop sign there now that's going away from the building. So when you're coming off of Orlando Street going onto Esopus, that's there to go straight. There's nothing going around the corner and there's nothing coming off the dead end street. And the safety of children and people that work there, the employees there should be very important to everybody. My son goes there and they have a great business there. And I would like to keep everybody safe. If it can be looked at, that'd be great. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about that in the future.
Mr. Whitaker, if I may ask you,
Yes.
please send an email to the town clerk
Okay.
with your request in
Yeah.
writing.
Yeah.
And if you could attach somehow a drawing
Yeah.
of the locations where you would wish to have those signs.
Yeah.
The highway superintendent is, for his benefit, on vacation in Aruba. We will take this matter up once we receive your written request at the next meeting.
Okay.
I do like stop signs. So you want a three-way stop sign? Is that what you?
Yeah, the three-way stop will, yeah, I mean, that stops, the stop signs, the stop sign that is there now has been working pretty well for people coming away from the building. It's only one stop sign. It's not stopping people going around the turn. And the highway department, including myself, because I was part of it, they paved Esopus Avenue all the way down to the softball field. They did a great job. I work for the town of Woodstock Highway Department, so I helped transport the blacktop there. They did a great job, but going around that turn is very dangerous. Coming out of the dead end is dangerous, especially with UPS and Amazon, all those drivers. When they come out of there, it's a blind turn. It's a blind turn both ways. So safety is very important, and I would like to have my son safe just like everyone else would like have their family members safe. So,
as we found out in East Kingston, when we paved Main Street, long straight roads, after they've been paved,
they go faster.
People go faster.
Yeah, they do. And it's great that they paved it and they're helping everybody's car. But yeah, that'd be great if we could look into that.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it.
Any additional, Mr. Kelly?
Good evening, Supervisor Quigley and members of the town board. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge that this board has taken an important step in declaring a positive declaration under seeker. That decision recognizes what so many of us in the community have been saying all along. This project is unprecedented in scale, complex in its potential impacts, and it demands the most rigorous environmental review possible. That said, I must also now raise a serious concern. The applicant's submission is not yet a complete application. Am I correct in stating that?
No, sir.
It is a complete application.
Complete application.
Okay.
Okay, there are 2 open areas per my email to Miss Jillian Freed, okay?
Okay.
They are disclosed in the application. One is SHPO. It has been declared that it is a potential historic landmark, which means we have to investigate it. The second issue, it has been disclosed that there may be wetlands on the property. We have to investigate it. And thirdly, as I referred to in my email, Mr. Wahid raised issues about inaccuracies in public disclosures in reference to contamination. I've asked the applicant for a written response. My personal investigation of the matter showed that the answers were correct. Because if you go into the DEC website, the EAF mapper, you punch in the address, it automatically consults with every database the DEC maintains. The cited issues that he called out did not pop up through the DEC program.
Okay, I did find a 2014 wetland study that does show very adjacent wetlands.
I'm not talking about wetlands.
Okay.
Talking
You're
about
the tanks.
environmental
I got
contamination.
both of those tanks at the former Hillside Market to come up on a search, so,
They are closed
okay,
and they are not listed in the remediation database.
okay.
And if you carefully read the question and the instructions, it asks, is the property in a remediation area? Since the tanks have been closed, there's no remediation ongoing.
Right, so I think that's probably more of an environmental scoping issue
That's
anyway.
correct.
Rather
And that-
than,
Why
okay.
we've asked for a written response from the applicant after they've had discussions with the E DEC.
Okay, I'm just still a little worried that you said you still have open issues, because how can the scope of the environmental review be properly determined if the foundational application itself is missing critical information? Seeker requires completeness and clarity at its outset. Without it, the scoping process risks being rushed, fragmented, or worse, based on assumptions rather than facts. This undermines not only the integrity of the environmental review, but also the public's trust in the process. I urge this board to insist that the applicant submit a complete, comprehensive application before moving further into scoping or analysis. Anything less does jeopardize both the legal and the defensibility of your actions, and the health, safety, and welfare of the town's residents. And let me be clear, completeness will not change the fact that this project is fundamentally incompatible with the surrounding community. It is too large, too risky, and too close to homes, schools, and businesses. Ultimately, this project must be stopped. But in the meantime, the town has an obligation to ensure that every step of this review is thorough, transparent, and procedurally sound. That begins with requiring the applicant to finish its homework before expecting the community to comment or your board to proceed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Any other comments?
So approximately 2.5 years ago, I think it was, the DEC undertook the removal and remediation of all fuel tanks on that property. So currently, all tests were done, all soil samples were done, tanks were removed, pumps were removed, everything except the foundation was removed by the DEC under the county's direction. At the time, county had possession of the property. So I can speak to the fact that that has been taken care of.
And that is based upon your personal involvement in oversight?
Yes,
Okay. As the building inspector?
it was the DEC.
Oh, they.
I attempted, okay, luckily it was people that the one thing I had to do was I had to have them, because they sent out their spill response trucks. And I showed up and said, would you mind moving the trucks to the back, because there isn't a spill? Because as soon as they showed up, I got a phone call. And every time they did a test, I got a phone call. It got to the point that the individuals doing the testing, when they showed up, they started their stopwatch. How long would it be before I got there? So that's how frequent. And I live around the corner. So that's
Thank
the only comment. I
Thank you.
wanted. Thank you.
Any other additional questions here tonight? Comments? Ms. Lucarini?
Hi, I'm Vicky Lucarini. I live at 170 Ledge Road. I just want to say, after listening to all the department heads' reports, I just want to say thank you. We are so lucky to have great department heads. They work so hard and they really do a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any of it back in the back, Jolie? You can come up. And now that you've taken the hat off once, I know how to identify you.
I just have a quick question. Mr. Shassel, I know you voted no, and you said the reason you voted no is because the application was missing elements, but you're saying it is complete. So can we have a clarification on that possibly?
I'm not going to give any more comments at this point. I'll probably have something to say at the next meeting because I'm still waiting for more information to come in.
Okay, so it's kind of not clear whether or not the application is complete.
It's not complete.
Okay. All right, thank
You
you.
can ask them. I mean, they can.
Thank you.
I think the application was already complete months ago, and it's just in the process of being reviewed. You're asking for additional information. We're going to provide it in the environmental review. When you have questions, we'll continue to provide whatever information sites.
So your answer is it's not complete.
Well, no, it's complete to the point where you're going to get to scoping. So then when you get to this stage, this is where you're going to ask a question. Did we do this? Do you need more information? If you say yes, what information do you want? Then we're going to come back with, okay, this is how we provide that information to you. We do the study, we give you more information, right? So if there is a lot of back and forth with this process.
Look forward to it.
Just so everyone understands, the initial application had a Part 1 EAF filed with the planning board in May. Town's consulting planners reviewed the EAF, issued a comment letter. The applicant responded to the comment letter. The comment letter is posted on the town's website in the first section of the documents. Based upon the comment letter and the questions that were exchanged and answered, revised documents were made. That doesn't mean the initial application was wrong. It means it's a work in progress and it's filled out and developed. On August 5th, the town's consulting planner provided them a response to their revised submittal of the EAF, which they are currently putting together. Now, since we have now declared a pause deck, whatever issues that have been raised heretofore and have been identified as concerns for the town of Ulster will be specified in the scoping document for study. And that will include the topics, as I've said all along, that have been raised throughout the last 5 or 6 months of discussions.
We have a motion to go to executive session. Yeah.
We have a second? I take your question as a motion?
Sure.
Okay, I'll second.
Anna stated it earlier.
Personnel matter and.
Employee history of a particular person. No, I think he walked outside.
He did walk.